100% genuine.
Welcome back to African Business Weekly. Now, the International Monetary Fund expects Nigeria to grow by around 7% this year, driven by robust domestic demand and high oil prices. But lingering challenges such as crude oil theft, infrastructural deficits, and insecurity pose a threat to the country in 2014. Nigeria is expected to emerge as the continent's largest economy in 2014, once the anticipated rebasing of the country's GDP takes place in the first quarter of this year. Compared to South Africa's $370 billion, Nigeria is expected to hit $405 billion. Goldman Sachs former chairman Jim O'Neill says the country is one of 4 nations globally whose economic prospects and favorable demographics position them as major players in the next 20 years. The IMF, however, warns that there are significant risks to sustaining this growth in 2014.
If you look at the social indicators, unemployment, if you estimate at 2011 we are at 23.7%, our estimate was that 2012 would have been doing 25% unemployment. Wages haven't gone up. Wages are still very sticky, and the cost of living has actually risen. So when you think about what growth should do, should empower people, should create jobs, Nigeria hasn't done that yet.
Oil revenue has continued to decline despite the relative stability in the oil price. The country's excess crude savings have dropped from $11.5 billion in December 2012 to less than $5 billion in November 2013.
For me, it's good in some respects that the growth from that sector is reducing. It's also bad in some sense because over 90% of government revenues come from there. But at the NESG, right, we believe very strongly that Nigeria's economy needs to be diversified.
Major changes are also expected at the central bank this year, with current Governor Lamido Sanusi's term coming to an end in June and 5 members of the central bank's Monetary Policy Committee expected to leave their posts this year. What impact will this have on the monetary policy stance?
I don't know what the president would do. Hopefully, he would agree to just renew their term so we have stability on the committee for another 4 years. If he has candidates, he might want to change his nominees.
With QE tapering in the US and an increase in interest rates in Europe, capital inflows into Nigeria's capital markets may also be negatively impacted, and the exchange rate could come under pressure. First, it was the BRICS, and now everyone is talking about the next generation of emerging economies: Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey, known as the MINTs. Now, Executive Chairman of Templeton Emerging Markets Group, Mark Mobius, told Bloomberg's Gavin Sirkin why Nigeria is one of the most exciting frontier markets in the world.
How do you fit Nigeria into your view of the world of frontier markets?
Nigeria is very, very important. In fact, if you look at our funds, our frontier funds, you'll see Nigeria is at the top in terms of weights of countries. And the reason for that, of course, it's a very young population. It's a large population, 20% of Sub-Saharan Africa, and it's a very dynamic place. It's relatively fast growing. This year we're expecting 6-7% growth. So it's really an important place for us to be.
Why do you think Nigeria is so popular?
You know, you've got a big population. That means a lot of trade, a lot of activity going on. And secondly, you've got a vibrant and growing middle class, a big consumer population, a young population that will be consuming more and more as you go forward. And very important also is the British legal tradition, because when companies want to come in here to establish relations, to do business, they have some degree of legal foundation on which they can rely. And the companies are organized in that way. So for portfolio investors like ourselves, that's very important.
What sectors do you look for in Nigeria at the moment?
Consumer, obviously, that's really where the focus is. We get into the consumer area indirectly with banks because the banks are expanding their consumer business, their consumer services. And then we go into the beverage area. Beer companies would be obvious, Guinness, Nigerian breweries, companies like that. And then also we're looking at other consumer names, smaller companies that we think going forward are going to be important. It's important to note that we also invest in South African companies that have a lot of exposure to Nigeria. And a good example would be MTN, the big telecoms company based in South Africa, but doing a large part of their business here in Nigeria.
That was Mark Mobius, Executive Chairman at Templeton Emerging Markets Group. Now, inclusive growth and job creation are the main themes for the World Economic Forum for Africa, which will be held in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, later this year. These goals are also being reflected in Nigeria's 2014 fiscal budget as the country plans to invest in areas that leads to job creation. Joining me to discuss this is Wahid Olagoju, Executive Director, Business Development at the Bank of Industry, and Bismarck Rawani, Managing Director at the Financial Derivatives Limited. Gentlemen, we thank you for joining us on these discussions. Bismarck, let's start with you. The World Bank has put Nigeria's unemployment rate at 22%, one of the highest rates on the continent. How do you think the country can reduce this level of unemployment?
To deal with it, you have to have a comprehensive strategy, which involves actually investing in the small and medium-scale enterprises that have an investment multiplier and a catalytic effect on the economic activity of Nigeria. That is the way to do it. And the reality is that at this point in time, the bulk of economic activity and the bulk of the wealth is at the top. So if you produce oil and produce gas, that industry does not employ many people. What you want to do is to convert the earnings from oil into the lower part of the pyramid, which involves agriculture, industry, end-to-end analysis across sectors and employing people at different levels of the economic pyramid.
Wahid, Bismarck talked about this very high rate of unemployment. From a specialized institution point of view, the Bank of Industry, how is this issue being tackled?
We're talking about a workforce of about 50 million Nigerians, out of which 30% are looking for jobs. That means we're talking about 17 million people out of jobs. And to bring this figure down to single digit, we're trying to create jobs for like 12 to 13 million Nigerians. This is quite doable over a horizon of 3 years. Based on our own experience that he talked about, we've paid a lot of emphasis to projects that stimulate jobs. We discriminate actively in favor of jobs that have high employment generation and those that use local raw materials.
Do you think the budget for 2014 predicated on inclusive growth and job creation is a starting point for that?
I don't think that 2014 is actually targeted at growth. It's targeted at fiscal consolidation and making sure that the quality of spending rather than the quantity of spending is addressed. Recurrent expenditure is 73%, while the capital expenditure is only 27%. Now, if you were to do it, it should be the other way around. The investment multiplier actually applies to capital expenditure, and that is what creates the jobs for the long run.
Bismarck, in what critical areas do you think the government should fine-tune the economy to achieve inclusive growth, job creation much faster in the face of a dwindling revenue?
Invest in construction, invest in the fundamentals of the railway project, invest in power, and invest more than anything else in domestic refining.
One of the beauty of globalization is that once the transaction is right, we'll always be able to mobilize resources from within or outside the country. We're into partnership with BNDES of Brazil, IDC of South Africa, for example, and the Development Bank of China. These are institutions that have a lot of resources and they want to invest in the Nigerian economy.
What challenge do you think industrial revolution face from a point of funding?
The biggest challenge Nigerian economic transformation faces today is people. The Nigerian economic story is constrained more from management than finance.
Good morning and welcome to Business Africa Live on BTA. This is a Friday edition. And as you can see on my left, we have the flag of Ghana here telling you that we need to support the Black Stars, especially as they play tomorrow. Regardless of what happened on Monday, the downfall of a man is not the end of his life, as we know. So don't give up on the Stars yet. Let us give them our full backing, our full support tomorrow. I'm sure, as I said on Monday, that will come through for us. So make sure you give all your support to the Black Stars over the weekend as they take on Germany in their next group match. I'm sure they will come through for us. Today we'll take a look at, as we usually do every morning, to look at how trading went yesterday and also to see how things will look like for today's trading. And you know, especially as today is the last day of the week, whether we're going to see any price changes positively or negatively on the stock market. Then we'll also look at the currency market to see whether the cedi is finding its level against any of our trading currencies, our major trading currencies as well. You know, we keep monitoring the reaction of traders, especially on how the cedi is reacting to the news of the review by the Bank of Ghana. Then we'll take a look at the current state of import in Ghana, vis-a-vis the review of the forex measures, as well as, you know, their thoughts as we prepare for the signing of the EPA. I'm sure they will have their own thoughts on how things should be. And they are also having some issues with the depreciation of the cedi. So I want to see what effects this is having on importers and exporters. Then we'll bring you where to invest, as we usually do every day. And as I keep saying, there are many opportunities that are bound in this country. So even though things might not be that difficult, might not be that easy and smooth, there are still many opportunities out there for those who are interested. And so bring you where to invest. You know, health is important to every business or to every business person. Health, your health is important. So today, we'll look at the business side of health, or how our health must be important to us as business people. So we'll talk health and we'll talk business as well. And then we'll bring you a business code for today. So that is how our lineup for today looks like. For now, I'll hand you over to Yao as he takes us through what happened yesterday on the market and his thoughts on what is to happen today. Yao, morning.
Good morning.
And he can take over.
Sure. Viewers, welcome to another edition of the stock market and currency and commodity market analysis for Thursday, heading towards the end of the week, of course, for Friday. Well, the Ghana Stock Exchange continued this rally for Thursday with an impressive performance, once again supported by the financial stocks with the Bank, UT Bank, and SIC and Stanchart in the mix of gainers, with a range of appreciation between 5 pesos for UT Bank, 2 pesos for Commercial Bank, 2 pesos for SIC, and 2 pesos for Stanchart. Talo, on the other hand, recovered its previous day's price loss to report a 2.50 cedis capital gain on the Talo share. In terms of volume traded, a total of just about 173,130 shares traded at a consideration of 127,000 shares trading. I mean, in terms of turnover, so 761,000 Ghana cedis trading at the end of Thursday. In terms of losers, we saw the likes of Guinness Ghana and Societe Generale reporting declines at the end of trading on Thursday, with Guinness Ghana slamming to an 18 peso fall to close at 5.7 pesos, which is quite about the lowest it's been to since the beginning of the year. In terms of trades, Guinness Ghana reported the highest volume and highest value traded, with a value traded of about 680,000 Ghana cedi shares, with a volume of 120,000 shares traded at the end of the day. Now let's take a look at some African stock markets and take a look at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, where a total volume of just about a total volume of about 50 million shares traded, with the index going up by 569.55 points at a year-to-date of 12.51%. Gainers on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange included Pinnacle Holdings, AngloGold Ashanti, Assault Limited, Metrofile, New Euro Property Investment, with a range of appreciation between 6.20 and 2.96% at the end of trading on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa on Thursday. Now let's come to West Africa and take a look at the Nigerian stock market, where where total volume of about 317 million shares traded at a consideration of 26.02 million US dollars, and total trades of 5,162 transactions with a market capitalization of 82.72 billion US dollars. In terms of market performance, the aggregate stock index on Nigerian stock market fell by 102.54 points, representing a daily change of 0.25% and a year-to-date of 2.73% at the end of trading on Thursday. Gainers on the Nigerian market by 1.36%. Corn oil, MRS, Owando and Ashakasem with gains on the market at the end of trading on Thursday. The range of appreciation between 10.24% for Owando and a low of 1.36% for Seplat. Now let's do some commodity news and take a look at what happened to the major foreign exports of Ghana in terms of raw materials. I must say, crude oil was up by 1.21% to close at $114.79 a barrel, while gold was up by 2.07% to close at $1,297.24 US dollars an ounce. Cocoa was at $3,111 US dollars per metric ton. Coffee was at $167.65 US dollars a pound, while sugar was at $18.57 a pound. Now let's do some currency information. Take a look at the performance of the Ghana cedis on the interbank market to its measures. The Ghana cedi reported marginal declines to the dollar and the pound sterling at the end of trading on Thursday, with the year-to-date staying at 39.28% and 42.79% for the US dollar and the pound sterling respectively. Against the euro, the Ghana cedi recorded a fall of 0.24% to the euro and the same margin to the CFA, with a respective year-to-dates of 36.82% and 26.91% at the end of trading on Thursday. So hopefully we should see some stability again in the value of the Ghana cedi to the dollar in the subsequent sessions after the measures have been introduced, of course, on the market. We should also see some the Ghana Stock Exchange reports another composite appreciation on the market on Friday, whilst some African countries will continue to see some appreciations, of course, especially in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and the Egyptian and the Tunisian market to record some gains, while the Nigerian market still remains in quite some volatile state, as we saw in the analysis we did just a few minutes ago. So I'll hand you over to your regular host or your commandant for the show, and we continue our discussion with that.
Thank you very much, Yao. Interesting things happening on the market. If you are taking a look at exchange, for example, we saw 7 price changes yesterday, with Talo leading the pack with 2.50, 2 cedi 50 pesos gain in price. And then with Societe Generale and GGBL, Guinness Ghana Brewers, losing, on their pricing. Now, if you take a look at GCB and Stanchart and even UTB, it seems as if they are gaining some good momentum. GCB, yes. Stanchart and UTB, they've just started as well. Is it something, as I keep asking every day, is this something that's sustainable?
Well, I think the position, especially in the financial stocks in the financial sector, is quite sustainable. Okay. Looking at the kind of performances that these banks are coming up, I think now investors also are seeing that UT probably, after not paying dividends for the past 2 years, probably have done some reinvestments of the capital and have made some serious returns with it. So this has also, in another nutshell, has improved on the pricing of UT. Stanchart, yes, they have one of the banks with one of the very huge asset base. Although most of their dealings are with the corporate sector, but then they have one of the banks with the highest assets in terms of the banking sector. So yeah, it's not surprising to see Stanchart and UT making some gains. But in the likes of SIC and Ghana Commercial Bank, I think it's nothing new. It's just the same old thing that's happening now.
I see. If you take a look at Societe Generale, we've seen it rise 17 pesos earlier in the year, drops back to 63 pesos, then started rising again, came to 92 pesos. I've seen a fall again back to now trading at 85 pesos, and it looks as if the momentum is with them to go down further beyond the 85 that they were trading at yesterday. What could be happening, especially to Societe Generale?
Well, Societe Generale has one of the equities that hasn't really impressed most of the investors, especially even though the financial sector has been very good, it has been one of the stocks that has really impressed. So investors at that point in time could discount the information of their mispricing. And of course, although it might look a little bit undervalued, but the momentum, because the stock itself, only if you take a trend of their performance, there hasn't been one of the stocks that has really on a consistent basis has returned value to investors. Okay. So even in the midst of most of the financial stocks reporting gains, they tend to a little bit deviate quite a little bit from the general market trend. But then we can also liken the performance of Societe Generale to that of Cow. That even though the performance keeps on going up, investors are quite skeptical about the performance of these banks, and then it does not necessarily reflect in the pricing of these stocks.
I see. Now, if we look at also a company like Tallow, it had dropped significantly, about 2 days ago. And then yesterday we saw a rise back to where it was trading previously. Now settling at 34.50 cedis. If you look at that, would it be that people didn't believe that 32 pesos was right for Tallow, and so has to go back to?
I think the issue when it comes to Tallow, it becomes a little bit dicey, even the way it trades. Okay. It's kind of a little bit dicey for anybody to even predict the performance of Tallow going forward. Although, as I said yesterday, it's one of the stocks that hasn't really lived up to most of the expectation of the investors. It's also has seen quite some marginal gains over the years, listing for about 30 or 32 Ghana cedis a share.
31.
Listing for about exactly 31, and not 34. That's just about 4 years down the lane after listing. It makes it a little bit, quite an unattractive venture for most investors. But then we just realized that the case of the price decline I saw on Wednesday was just about I think one or two investors. When you look at the volume that was traded, you realized there wasn't much of any significance. It was just one or two investors, or even one investor who felt probably he wasn't making much and had to just cash out and then look into other, because the demand, unlucky for Tallow, there isn't much demand for it. So when you go to the market to sell, you probably will have to be down the price because there isn't much of demand for it.
Demand for that.
Exactly. So that was what exactly that happened yesterday and on Wednesday. And then yesterday, what happened was just a case of the price being restored to its normal value at the end of the day, because probably although one investor might probably think that the value should be low, another also would think the value should be high. And at the end, when it comes to trading, it is when just at the point at the platform where the trade really happens. That's where price is determined. Irrespective of what you think the price is, when you go to the market, is what the other party is willing to sell or to buy at a particular price. That's where it will be done.
I see. Now, if you take a look at Tallow and then the kind of environment they find themselves, or the kind of industry they find themselves in, oil exploration, wouldn't you give them some credit? Because sometimes you may pump money into or invest in a certain project that may not turn out as well as the projections might have been. So in that case, do you blame them so much for the stock not doing too well? especially.
Well, I wouldn't say blame Talo for how the pricing has been. Just that I think some of the investors did not really understand the business of Talo before getting into it, because it's a very risky business where you have to prospect some field, and you go and make some drilling, and which involves huge sums of money in terms of the investment in those fields. If you go when you make after making your exploration, you able to make very huge finds, then it improves your position in the market. But in the case where it doesn't necessarily bring you any good finds on after your exploration, then there are issues. Then investors beginning to think, well, why our money? Because at the end the company belongs to equity holders, and they might feel, why are we still putting money into this venture which is not necessarily returning much value to us? So it's much of a very risky business if you want to go into mining industry, especially with Talo, because they always will require huge capital investments. It's when they make these findings and then they're able to sell off the stake, that's where they're able to make the money. And now I think most of the attention has moved to East Africa, especially in the Congo Basin, in the around the shores of Mozambique and Uganda. That's where most of their attention has moved, apart from what they are doing in Ghana and probably around on the Gulf of Guinea, around the countries around the Gulf of Guinea. It's also making some findings in Mauritania, which the company believes that they could also find quite some significant oil deposits over there. So it's still early days yet to write them off, but then we just have to understand the notion that Talo is a very, very risky business, and then if you want to go into it, then you have to be willing to be able to take up the risk. If not, then there will be these cases where their pricing will keep on falling and rising day in, day out.
GGBL, I mean Guinness, has also seen, another decrease in their pricing. They had risen all the way to 6.20, earlier in the year, and now trading at 5 cedi 7 pesos, losing 18 pesos yesterday. If you look at that, and you would realize that there isn't a lot of demand, almost virtually no demand at all for Guinness Ghana shares. If you look at that and the price falling, is it indicative of what their industry is going through?
It's a direct reflection of the problems that most of these industries are going through. Because we're looking at what they are going through, their profits are being eroded. Their expenses are rising, at a very fast pace. Although, of course, the demand for their products might be, still over there. I mean, still up there. But at the end, if your expenses are really good, and then they're unable to, transfer, because of competition in the industry, they're unable to transfer these costs to the consumer. Okay, so now they are, more or less taking up most of these costs, and it's going against their business. And so, I mean, their pricing, of course, on the markets could go down, because, of course, the investor who places money in your company might not necessarily look at what you are going through. If you are going through situations where they feel you are risky, or you will not be able to return value to them, they move to another one. So that's been the reason why it's becoming like it's only the financial equities that are making gains right now. Because maybe when you move from Guinness Ghana and go to Farm Milk, it's the same situation they're also seeing there. When you go to Unilever, it's the same thing. When you go to PZ, it's the same thing. That's why all these stocks have seen their price going down.
I see. Any predictions for today?
Well, the trading I don't really expect a much deviation from what has been happening. It's still going to be the financial stocks. I
see. So we should keep to it.
Yeah.
Are there, even though you mentioned GCB, are there any other ones you think we should be taking a look at?
Well, we should take a look at EcoBank. We should be taking a look at Car, which is one of the stocks that has been woefully undervalued for a very long time.
That's true.
And BGL could also make up some gains again, extend this trend, and the markets would still, it looks bright for today, I guess.
For today. And then for the currencies?
Well, the Ghana cedi was stable to the dollar at least for yesterday, so at least it's more of good news if you.
It's as if it's the first time in quite a very long while you've seen it.
Well, although it was quite a marginal decline, but
marginal.
So we tell me that it was fairly stable. So the Ghana cedi was fairly stable to the dollar and the pound sterling.
Yeah, and then for me,
it shows good signs of. Maybe it
might be recovering.
Exactly, it might be recovering. There's much confidence now, and Ghana cedi people are really now willing to bring down their dollars.
Do you think the price, the cedi dollar will change? Go down?
Go down. I don't remember the last time I saw that. So the kind of cedi go down. I mean, I appreciate against. I think it was only in 2010 where we saw Ghana cedi record an appreciation. Yeah, but I think over the years from 2007 upwards, it's been very downward, especially in 2008, 2009 was one of the worst, and then 2011 was quite okay. 2012, where it was in the teens, and last year was also in the teens, but this year it's
jumped above the 30s.
It's in the 30s, almost heading to the 40s. So it's something we need to take a look at. But then, of course, these measures probably came at quite a good time where probably be having some influx of foreign
with the cocoa syndication bond,
the euro bond probably also coming on stream, and then maybe at a point where these companies, multinationals, also feel safe to bring their dollars here, because at the end, if these companies are able to buy dollars here to bring their equipment. To buy their equipment to do their job, and when they go out there and sell, they keep it over there. Then they are doing us much or less a disservice.
That is true. Well, thank you very much for making time to be with us every morning, for sharing your thoughts on what's happening on the market with us. It's important, as he said, that and I keep saying that, look, if you're interested in the stock exchange, well, then, as he has said, financial stocks are the ones that you should be more interested in. However, for those who are also, more of a long-term people, those who have a long-term outlook, you should be considering some of the other equities that are not in the financial sector, because the pricing may be down now, and so going into it now, you would stand to gain when it starts picking up again, or when, conditions of the operation starts picking up and getting better. So that is it for the first session of our show. We'll take a short break and we'll come back with our discussion with imports and exporters. Stay tuned in. We'll be right back.
Africa is becoming more populous and richer. It has experienced unprecedented and uninterrupted economic growth for the past 3 decades. But if African countries are to become economically successful, their governments will have to implement adequate policies which contribute to the expansion of the private sector, job creation, and an increase in the productivity levels. Corruption must be dealt with in Africa. Unemployment, mainly among the youth, is another challenge facing African leaders. These and many more issues that hinders our growth will be discussed on the banner and provide the why, how, and what to accelerate the continent's dream of economic freedom. Watch on the banner every Saturday. Is going to be hot, heated, but focused. Africa's future success will depend on stability, sound policies, and solid institutions. Don't miss this.
TV for your family. of local and international news, Parliament, Cinemax African movies, Sports 24, Emmanuel TV, GTV, CNN, Al Jazeera, Planet Kids for Kids, and many other channels.
Fast Digital, the Ghanaian in you.
The sun is up, the spirit's high, people everywhere. Yeah. The food is good, the wine is fine, people getting high. Yeah. Mama here, Papa there, the whole gang too. Yeah. Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, come together, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together. Folks are jumping, screaming, and shouting, party everywhere. All our friends, let's join hands and make the sun shine bright. Why don't you come right in and have a good time too? Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, come together, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together, all together.
Looking for a venue for your wedding reception, conferences and retreats, outside catering, recreation? Look no further than Coconut Grove Beach Resort Hotel, located in Elmina. Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth. And the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, it never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the Gold Fund and Gold Money Market Fund, and be assured that when you are in need, you can turn to them to resolve your financial problems. Gold Coast Fund Management. Investment advice worth its weight in gold.
So you're welcome back from the break. Before we went on break, we were looking at the various markets, like the currencies, the stock markets, to see whether there are opportunities there for us to take advantage of. So that's what we're doing. Now we take a look at our import and exporters. They have some concerns. They have some, some issues regarding the Bank of Ghana forex measures, even the reviewed ones, and also the GRA's introduction of the new taxes, especially on banking services. And I was just telling my guests that even there is insurance as well that is coming. It's because the banking sector is more like the leading, sector. That's why they're starting from there. But insurance as well will pay some taxes. So we talk to them about those things, as well as some other challenges that importers and exporters are going through, that's making their work difficult. I have here with me Mr. Asaki A. Sampson, the Executive Secretary, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, my brother, and good morning to your listeners.
Good to see you again.
Good to be here too.
Now, just give us an idea of the state of importers and exporters currently in the country.
Well, this is a broader scope that you want me to elaborate for. As you rightly said, you're into this country and you know what importers and exporters in the country. Indeed, I think this is not the first time or the last time that we have had this interaction concerning the importations of goods or importers into the country. A chunk of the problem or the challenges, I may say, in the industry is coming from the importers, because indeed government is always advocating that they want us to do more export so that they can bring the inflows inject into our economy. But we are also agitating or advocating that yes, though we want to export, the importers are also paying some kind of money or duty in the form of duty to the state that they are also using to develop the country. One of the challenges or the main challenger to importers, I would say, is the special levy tax that was introduced somewhere 2013. As we speak now, one company, I can tell you that a time can pay that 2% or 1% up to 50,000 Ghana cedis or even more because of the volumes import that they are importing. If you go to the frozen food importers, if you go to the company that bring bulk or big bulk, when I talk of bulk or big bulk, we talk of people who bring in rice, who bring in sugar, you understand, who even bring in crude oil and other things into the country. These people are all paying because they are important. Or frozen food, of course, they should bring full vessels to discharge into their cold stores. It's a worrisome situation coupled with the 2014 VAT 2.5 that government of Ghana has also passed, Parliament of Ghana have also passed it, and it was implemented. I think it was passed somewhere 2012 or 2013. I can't remember. Yes, and it was implemented on the 8th of January 2014 this year. Yes. One will tell you that already if you have a businessmen and women in your country complaining that special tax force, special levy is a burden to them, and you've gone ahead to add more burden onto them. We have been advocating to government that government should say, okay, well, look at things. We need money. True, though, yes, we've not disagreed that government doesn't need money to do developmental issues, but you don't always look at one particular aspect. That if I need money, you turn left, right. That is the only place you go and make money. Why am I saying this? At the same time, when they wanted to pass the 2.5 VAT to bring it to add onto import, making it 70% flat rate now for imported VAT, there was another group, that is the mining company, mining sector. They were also supposed to pass a windfall tax. Even though it has been passed, it hasn't been implemented because the chambers of miners and then their agents stood against it. I told you, condoms, fish input, and others were also part of the bill that they sent to Parliament. Their association also stood up and make sure that government withdraw all those things. Some were passed, but government says, okay, they have to put on hold, they cannot implement it. It is only the importers aspect that anytime they pass a law, government rush, or the Minister of Finance and his agencies, GRA and others, they rush to implement it. So it tells you that the importers have been left there like an orphan, and so nobody cares for them. That was the reason why the importer realized, no, to get it, we need to get a very strong advocate team or an association that will be there for the importer. And that since 30th of this January of this year, when the association came into existence, I'm quite sure that you've been hearing the submissions of the importers through myself, the executive bodies of the association that has been making our decision clear to government. Indeed, businessmen and women are really dying of this in this country because of so much taxes. It isn't like that in other countries, jurisdictions. If you go to Nigeria, I'm told that reliably informed that, and I stand to be corrected because I get feed from the membership that in Nigeria, if you are importing a 40-footer container, already the importer knows how much he's going to pay in this country. Now, in this country, if you are importing 40-footer container or 20-footer container, you don't know because every week our convention rate keep on changing. So, and even indeed, if let's take that you imported your car and you've asked your agent to go for the values for you, let's take that as at last week, maybe somewhere Wednesday, you took the rate for you, and you say, okay, this week Wednesday you go and pay. By this week, because of Tuesday has come before Wednesday, they will tell you the rate has changed. So every week the rate keep on changing. So meaning if they give you a rate on Tuesday, and by next week Monday, if you don't pay, the following day Tuesday, then you are going to pay different rate.
Well, so as an association, even if you take that alone, what have you done about it? What have you been able to do to ensure that maybe there's a change in how that regime works entirely?
Look, they will tell you that the Bank of Ghana every week comes out with what? A prevailing rate. And that is what they are using to calculate duty. I think that it should be, if I have my dollar, or if I want to use to buy CD, I should be able to use to buy CD, but they should not use that one to calculate for you to pay duty. That is why it's killing our businessmen. And the only body that we can speak to is the Minister of Trade and Industry. Because the Minister of Trade and Industry is responsible to make sure that people who are investing into the country, people who are doing international trade, should have a free flow. Should feel like should feel that this is the sub-region that, in terms of political stability, you don't have insecurity. You have security. Insecurity is very secured. You can go from any region, any town, any regional capital in this country without fear of it, because nobody will worry you. But the point is, by the end of the day, the investor has been told of all these goods works, and he comes here, or he or she comes here to do business. At the end of the day, the taxes level, not even the foreign nationality, even including our own indigenous. It is important that we let the Minister of Trade away. And the Minister of Trade is aware of these issues. But, well, one may say that, okay, he's not the only person who takes decision. Maybe cabinet takes decision, and at times it gets to parliament. Indeed, one of the laws that they get passed recently that is challenging importers today as we speak. One, you brought VAT to 17% flat import. Two, we say take off the special levy. Government have still refused, still hanging on. They haven't told us anything. We said, okay, right now as we speak, importers are paying special levy, already, which they were paying, were complaining. Importer is now increased, import duty has been, VAT has been increased to 17%. Now, the GRA is coming out with this.
You're 17.5 or you are paying 17?
No, import VAT is 17. Yes. Now, the bankers at the GRA, the financial service also came out. It's also 17.5. Bank of Ghana, directive from 13 February last year, came, I think last week that they did the review. It's also worsening the situation. So, look, completely, I'm telling you, if you go to the commercial banks today, to look for money, even you are carrying Ghana cedi, just go and try. You won't get the dollar. What is the reason? The reason is the Bank of Ghana has taken a decision without consulting the stakeholders. When I say stakeholder, the industry players.
But that has changed with a review of the policies now. It has changed where you can carry up to about $50,000 if you are doing the card. Look, I agree with you, but then if you look at the fact that there is a need for us to also change a few things to help our own city, then you don't. Why do you want to carry money to the bank to go and buy the dollar? If you can easily put the money in the bank can put it on your card for you. Wherever you go, you can easily shop.
Thank you very much.
It happens.
I like the idea that you've just raised. Now, the Bank of Ghana spent about $40 million US, stand to be corrected, if I'm sure they are listening, to develop the system of this cashless system. As we speak now, the Bank of Ghana will be hit hard in the sense that the GRA, the new laws that the GRA is implementing, you and I will not tell your banker that don't send me SMS. You and I will not tell your banker that don't give me email report about my banking statement.
But even if you take the hard copy, you still pay.
No,
your
you don't need it.
You still pay.
I either walk to the bank and say, you remember those days, go to the bank, you sit in front of the personal banker, you say, write my
balance.
My balance for me.
No, but unfortunately, if you're a business,
I don't need it.
No, if you're a business, you can't afford not to have your bank statement.
Thank you.
You need to do your reconciliation. So it's important that you get your statement. You will pay.
Oh, so reconciliation, either you done it every quarter, or
you can't afford to do every quarter reconciliation.
Either you do it every quarter, or you do it at the end of the year when your auditor's account audit you. It's a choice.
It's a choice, but not compulsory. It's not a very helpful choice if you are going.
No,
but anyway.
No, I want you to understand something here. The Bank of Ghana directives that you said was to maintain or to protect the cedi as against the dollar. I will agree with you. But I want you to also know that at the same time, the Bank of Ghana has failed Ghanaians with the measures that they brought. And they refuse to come and apologize to Ghanaians. They are supposed to come and apologize to Ghanaians in the sense that they are 2.4, right? At the time of these measures that they brought in, to 3.3 something. Is it worsen? Did they worsen the situation, or they've rather done
the argument is also that if you look at the rate at which the cedi was depreciating from January, and then look at when they introduced the measures up to now, even though there has been depreciation, the rate of depreciation has gone down significantly.
Did they give Ghanaians the total depreciation of the cedi?
Yes, for example, 26. That in January it was about 7%.
I'm saying the total depreciation of the cedi is 26.
No, it's actually above 26 if you're looking at it that way.
They are giving you that it has dropped to 2.7, isn't it?
A month.
Yes. Now,
from all the way up of 7%.
Now, let me tell you practical measures. Business men and women, or Ghanaians as we are, we don't look at inflation, so we look at, is there money in my pocket?
So you're looking at what price you bought this Ghana flag in January.
Yes,
and
the value.
Same price.
Yes.
Same
so don't come and
now.
tell me that it's 2.0 when people doesn't have money in their pocket. Don't come and tell me that when importers have put their money into their banks, asking their bank to get the forex and transfer to their suppliers so that their goods can come, and they're queuing till date. People are not having it, and the money is lying with the black market. Look, one of the measures that they could have done, and I would have been happy, is if they had completely killed the black market situation. As we speak today, it is the Bank of Ghana who give us the prevailing rate every week. But as you speak today, as I'm speaking now, the market
the rate
is now rather determine the rate for the BOG. So the BOG is just,
really?
I'm telling you, absolutely, I challenge. I challenge them to come out and say no, because why should I go to the black market and can get forex to buy, and I come to my because for the safety guaranteed me, I have an account. I say give me money for me to go, and I'm queuing, and the banker cannot be honest to tell her that we don't have the forex. Then they'll tell the tanker problem tomorrow.
They've been telling you.
That is what they've been telling our people.
Well, let's take
a phone in, see what people will tell you, what they have been the experiences.
So what has been the effect on importers or on exporters?
The effect is that, one, I told you that plan, right? You not budget to know that I'm going to spend $50,000 to do my business, including import, freight, and transportation and clearing. You get the market before you. This is the amount of money you're supposed to pay. So planning is completely down. Two, I want you to understand that from January to date, a lot of importers are no more imported. That affected government heavily. And if the GRA would the government to the custom port, Takoradi port, or airport, they should bring their books and you see.
You're saying that revenues they've collected will be lower than expected.
It's deep, not because look, there are big companies to bring full vessels of goods every week. Time to down, they are not importing. They are not importing because they are looking for money to go. They can't get it. They are not importing because they don't pricing as against the city. Because $1 to 3.3, my brother, it's a help.
So you are saying that the decision hasn't really helped. How
coupled with the measures,
but I'm about the decision of the city. When you bring, what is the practical effect it's also had on things that you've been in?
Oh, the practical effect it has is that you suffer to pay or to convert your oxygen to dollar, or because of the rate for you to pay your duty. You suffer to pay, or you bring the goods out, it's locked in your warehouses or in your store. People are not buying. Because people doesn't have the money.
I see. Prices have gone up.
Price will never go up. If you pay so much duty, you think
you had to it.
You had to look, and you know what? Is that by the time you finish selling, the dollar has risen against the city. So to act before you can transfer to go and bring a consignment, and that's why people are either they are winding up their businesses or they are watching before they can push, because they wouldn't want situation where they push their money there and the money get back.
But at the same time, it's not best for exporters.
Well,
because now your city is weak, so
you remember the last time
exporting will be cheaper.
No, the Bank of Ghana, that measure that they brought first, it even made export. You know, before it is when and they repatriate their sales.
Yes.
Now it gets to the Bank of Ghana, and they need to give it to the commercial banks so they can do sales. Now, as we speak now, the exporters have, because of the Bank of Ghana saying immediately they arrive, within 5 days it has to be converted. Most of the exporters refuse to bring their money back home.
It has changed.
It has changed. It's 60-40. Yes, last week Friday.
Yes.
It's 60-40. And then, of course, they are also saying importers they've also given another period. is it 30 days period or whatever?
No, but now,
yeah. But the point
now
is,
you align the period. You don't have to just 5 days after. Now, contract is 90 days, so be it. If it's 120 days, so be it. So it should be helpful.
Good. So it knows that people have contracts before their money comes back to the country. They now know. So first they didn't know. No. Why? The reason is that some of us has advocated for them to know that, look, don't think that bring the money back. Even in the country, people have supply who supply them and give them 60 days to pay.
Shouldn't you be helping some of your importers to stop what they are importing and then help them set up enterprise that would... Oh, everybody knows it and we'll keep talking about it. Toothpicks. Why do we still have this when we have the bamboo and everything here that we can use to do that? So why aren't you encouraging them to stop importing and going to the production of these things? It would be better for us.
Even Unilever Ghana, who produce Pepsodent direct, at times they import from Nigeria to the country.
They're importing from Unilever?
Yes. I'm saying they import. But they also bring import. Yeah, it's for Unilever. But so don't they import? Don't they clear?
I agree.
So I'm saying there are certain things that we can produce them here practically. There are certain things that we can't produce them. So with that one, it is a win-win situation. You understand the point? Yes, we want to also produce something that we can export. But ask yourself that Export Development Promotion Council or whatever, now authority, what have they been doing for exporters? Is government really serious into the import? And is government really use things that is being highly demanded outside there? One body, and the person can now bring your output that makes you what you can now export.
The Bank of Ghana reviewed the forex measures they brought in January, February. Reviewed it after a lot of back and forth because, yes, people were not happy with most of the measures that they had introduced and all that. And I'm sure importers had issues, exporters would have issues as well. Now, with a review, is it making any impact, or maybe it's too short to make any significant impact?
I think before the review, they met groups. From where I sit, we didn't go to the Governor of Bank of Ghana because I know where we deal our business with. We are dealing with Minister of Finance or we are dealing with
Minister of Trade.
Minister of Trade. So we went to Minister of Trade to put our views to the Minister straight away. Now, others also take the pain to go to the Bank of Ghana to have meetings with the Governor of Bank of Ghana and his team. Now, if you look at the report, the release, they said somewhere that coupled with the views and in the meeting that they held with some people were for, some people were against. So they decided to come out with the measures. One will tell you that what was the reason for reviewing? The reason is that some of us let them understand that the measures that you took didn't help the reason why you were taking that decision. Implementation or policy that they brought it out. Because you couldn't save the city from the dollar.
Rubbish is too harsh a word because they would tell you that
it's rubbish because
it made some impact.
From 2.4 to 3 point something, I don't see it to be any impact because our people doesn't have the money. They're not even getting the forex.
The argument is that if they haven't intervened, the CD dollar depreciation could have gone way beyond the 30 40% that we're currently experiencing.
We were also thinking that from 2.4, it should have even come down to 2.1 or even 2 cities. If they had taken prudent measures. Yes, not to grow. So we are not looking at that. My brother, another point is that the Bank of Ghana is also saying that people are allowed to operate the forex account. We advocated that they should be able to operate the foreign currency account or foreign exchange account in the sense that international trade that we are doing here.
But now you can do it.
Now, the Bank of Ghana is saying that if you are going to China to do business, you should not come for China dollar.
The yuan.
The yuan to go and bring business.
Yes.
Did they needed to take these measures before they are not coming out to tell us? Look, the Bank of Ghana has a lot of room to operate, but they don't know. One, the Bank of Ghana, some time ago, you remember, you can give a check of 10,000 Ghana cedis to a third party to go in cash. The Bank of Ghana reviewed to say 5,000. Even as of now, the 5,000 also reviewed downward again. So if you give 5,000 to third party, you have to be there. Do you know third party cannot cash 5,000 checks? Yes. Yes, you don't know. It is, yeah, if you just go and write 5,000, your banker will call you, come and sign you for.
But why do you want to cash the 5,000?
Now, this is just to curtail people from carrying
huge monies on themselves.
We agree. Now, we are saying that the Bank of Ghana letter to the commercial bank that you know your customer, like you know me as the executive secretary for import and export in the country. So if you want to call me, you know where to get me. Oh, something comes to you, something's traveling, you know he's traveling to China, or he import most from China. The amount that I'm requesting in dollar, all what I want, by the time I get to China, my money is sitting there, I can use to do my business. Just transfer the same amount in yuan. All what the importer is interested to get the money to buy his goods and come back.
That is true. But
so
that is
you don't
why
need to take these measures when the things is not going hard and come back and say, oh, we also want you to use this currency. Is it not their duty to advise us?
Okay.
Or is it their duty to take this measure that is killing people business before they not come back to advise us?
But could it not be because when you are going to China, you would rather go and demand the dollar, and then you go there and change to yuan before you buy? Is that not why?
I'm saying the Bank of Ghana has a duty to tell the commercial bank that, look, if this person, if your client is traveling to China, transfer China money on its equivalent to how much is asking in dollar. It's as easy as that.
But that is why now they're also promoting the use of your card, the traveler's card, so that you can just, all that you need to do is go to your bank, tell them you are traveling, and this is how much you need to do when you go out. And then as soon as you get there, you can use your card to pay anywhere. That does not make it easier for you.
I will treat that too. I will treat it. But let me get on the Bank of Ghana issue. Now, the Bank of Ghana is saying that even within internal, we advocate that most of the importers, at time when they import, they go to China, USA, wherever, when they import, they tell the vessels, the shipping line company there that when I get to Ghana, I'll pay my freight to your agent in Ghana. Now, let's take it at Maxline. Maxline is a worldwide company. They have their agent in Ghana, that's Max Ghana. Now, the importer, when immediately the vessel arrives, the importer goes to pay to Maxline the freight, then they transfer back. So, you have to pay in Forex. Now they are saying that I cannot transfer my account to Maxline account. Let's say my account is with EcoBank Ghana. Maxline Forex account or foreign currency account is on foreign exchange account is on maybe Ghana Commercial Bank. My bank from EcoBank cannot transfer to Ghana Commercial Bank for me to pay my freight. Now they are also saying that I can no longer have access to a checkbook or entitled to a checkbook, Forex checkbook. Which, if I were to be entitled to buy, I cannot withdraw more than I can issue a check to Maxline. They'll go and pay to the account and it's clear. It will make sense. You understand that? Okay. Now, they are also saying that if I want to transfer my money, I can transfer my money, all right, to outside up to from 25 to 50,000. But when I come back, that I need more money again, they should not give me until I comes back to account. The Forex not to account with the documentation.
You may use an account, but what they are saying is that
the documentation.
Initially, they can go ahead and do it without the documentation. But when you want extra more, you want more of the dollar, then you should show for what you initially took the money for. That's what they've said.
Yes, the point is that.
But is it not fair?
The argument we are making here is that, look, my brother, you know, business there's risk. There's the item of risk in it. Now, maybe I transfer to a supplier to bring me goods. My stock levels are going down.
Okay.
Now, my supplier could not provide me at the time I was in dire need. But another supplier can pop up and say, oh, I have the goods, I'm ready to supply you. Maybe this time I don't want to transfer to that person. I want to transfer and go there and buy my goods and come back before I start casing this. Because my stock levels is going down.
But you can do that.
When your stock levels goes down, your customers come and say you don't have it, you lose that customer. You know
then you can do that. If, for example, so you imported the first batch. When you are going to the bank to request for the funds to do that, you didn't go along with any documentation. But now that you are going again, looking for more, by then you would have had the documentation from the first supplier, right? So you go asking for more, you can show them the documentation, and then they'll give you the extra you're looking for.
No, if they don't supply you, how do you get the documentation from the first supplier? I'm saying that.
But you have invoices that you use.
No, I'm just saying that the Bank of Ghana says you can transfer up to 50,000 now without documentation. But upon return, you have to bring documentation to your bank. Don't forget that they are not saying
you need to do that to show documentation.
Absolutely. And I'm just telling the list of the risk. What if the risk component comes in? What happened? But that's not even an argument. What the reality of the issue is that I'm saying we should be able to pay free here in Ghana. We should be able to pay free because they've rendered service to me on forex. Indeed, if I'm going to export goods, and you know the free zone, the production there, most of their product is for export. Now, if I'm buying from free zone for export, I need to pay them. They are entitled to take forex.
Why? But if you are talking about, but you can pay in equivalent city.
No, they are entitled for forex.
They are asking for forex.
They are entitled. No, they are asking. It's a free zone. They are entitled for forex. If they render service to you, they render service to you in forex. So you have to pay them forex. How do I pay?
Well, we'll explore this more. I'm sure we'll get Bank of Ghana official around one of these days to explore, to give some more explanation to some of these measures or the review that they've done, because there are quite a number of issues that SAMS, for example, is bringing up, and I'm sure a bit more clarity on these things will be helpful for exporters and importers. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back to continue our discussion with Samson. Stay tuned in.
Africa is becoming more populous and richer. It has experienced unprecedented and uninterrupted economic growth for the past 3 decades. But if African countries are to become economically successful, their governments will have to implement adequate policies which contribute to the expansion of the private sector, job creation, and an increase in the productivity levels. Corruption must be dealt with in Africa. Unemployment, mainly among the youth, is another challenge facing African leaders. These and many more issues that hinders our growth will be discussed on the banner and provide the why, how, to accelerate the continent's dream of economic freedom. Watch on the banner every Saturday. It's going to be hot, heated, but focused. Africa's future success will depend on stability, sound policies, and solid institutions. Don't miss this.
If you want TV that will make your family always very happy, First Digital TV, First Digital TV for your family. We give you quality premium digital TV.
First Digital
TV you can afford. Always there is a channel for every member of the family. So everybody keep watching First Digital TV.
and always have some fun.
Digital TV.
We have local and international news, Parliament, Cinemax African movies, Sports 24, Emmanuel TV, GTV, CNN, Al Jazeera, Planet Kids for Kids, and many other channels.
First Digital, the Ghanaian in you.
We've been talking to Samson Asaki of the Imported and Exported Association of some of their concerns, especially with the new introduction of new taxes, the depreciation of the cedi and all that. Now, the question I ask is, there are quite a number of issues you have, but then you have issues with the introduction of a new taxes on financial services. What exactly is your concern on that?
Thank you very much. My brother, there's one thing that to implement, or we can see things, but we close our eyes, we did not see it. Why am I saying that? The GRA issue, the 17.5 on the financial service, when it came up, there was a need for technical committee to be formed. Now, when you look at the report that the Commissioner General signed, it says that the committee was composition of GRA, Ministry of Finance, and then the financial services. That's the Association of Bankers. Now, you ask yourself that, is it the GRA, is it the Ministry of Finance, is it the Association of Bankers who are going to pay the 70.5? Those who are going to feel the pain are the international traders, that are the businessmen, the importers and the exporters in the country. Because you are talking of transfers, you are talking of letter of credit, you are talking of e-banking, e-client and stuff. You are talking of overdrafts, and there's no any importer in this country who told you, I've never gone for overdraft. Nothing. These are huge, huge monies that these people are doing. They keep it day in, day out, to that, either by transferring, either by checking their banking. So we are telling you that the payment that they are going to pay, these people are the people who are going to feel it. Not that the bankers had agreed that, oh, okay, if an importer transferring $10,000 for a business, the charge on it used to be 30 Ghana cedis. Not that they are going to pay the 70.5 on the 30 Ghana cedis, but on the 30 Ghana cedis you are going to pay on.
Yes.
So it is the importer who's going to pay, or it is the businessman or the businesswoman who's going to pay.
Okay.
You understand that? So it is not a healthy situation at all, because already the importers are really facing these huge problems from the what do you call it, from ports, paying so much taxes there. So taxes here, taxes there, it doesn't make. And indeed, they say value added tax. If I'm paying tax on my transfer, what value do I get from? Tell me. If I'm paying tax for my letter of credit to pay my supplier, my client, what value am I getting from?
You're facilitating
Facilitating what?
Facilitating the transfers for you, your ability to be able to send the money to.
That is why the facilitation, I pay for facilitation. I don't pay for, it's not government who's facilitating. It's not government who's facilitating for me. It's not government of Ghana who's facilitating for me.
But
the banker there who's facilitating for the transfer is the one that's why I'm paying services to him for services being rendered to me. This says value added tax. If an importer transferring money to go and bring his cargo, what value, if I pay 70.5 on it, what value do I gain from? Tell me practical terms. So I think at the time they were constituting this committee, they were supposed to bring in Importers and Exporters Association. They were supposed to bring in Ghana Union Trade, because their members are selling in the market and bringing their money, and they're also, most of them too, also import. You understand that? So we think that the composition of the technical committee was not up to adequate.
Now it's come. They've passed it. What are you doing?
Even in Parliament, we have a problem. My very good friend, Felix Kwachi, will say, even the committee chairman in Parliament, when he was called the first day to be informed about this release, he says that there might be this law need to be reviewed. A law that you were the champion, you lead the team to make sure you push it through Parliament. You did not even take your time to read through. Now that it's on the neck of people, and because he himself has even also received text message that today, if he writes his check book, or if he's an MP, when you go to his committee's meeting and he's so tired and forget where he places his check, and he's calling for another new checkbook, he's going to be charged. Now they are saying that, you see, so when you cannot eat when it doesn't, if it favors them, let it go. When it doesn't favor them, now it should come back. But the most important thing is those people don't even does huge transfers and other things. Those who does huge transfer, letter of credit and other things that they are talking of, that will fetch more money is the importers and exporters.
What can we do? What should be done?
Well, we think if they can hold it, if they are talking of 1st July implementation, if they can hold it, if they may not hold it, I think we made it elsewhere clear that our people, we had Kingsley Hereford, we've had Kofi Bentel of Imani Ghana, and of course said they were going to go to court, and we said, well, if we hear that they are going to court, we will join them. in court because we join in solidarity, because we are also going to, our members are going to be affected. And indeed, we would do everything possible to make sure that government doesn't get this thing goes through. Because indeed, if this thing goes through, even the Bank of Ghana measures alone kill business. But then I'm saying, what was the excess of the Bank of Ghana coming out with spending $40 million to develop this software or to implement this cashless system in the country? For me to turn now, the Bank of Ghana is not telling me that even as an importer, I can load my money into my card, my credit card or debit card, and go and do whatever business. Yep. Now it's going to be charged on. You think they will go for it?
Why shouldn't they go for it? Is it not easier? Is it not more secure than carrying money with you that somebody can easily
even in government, there's inconsistency of communication, because the GRA ought to be communicating with the Bank of Ghana, the Minister of Finance ought to be communicating with the Bank of Ghana, or the governor of the Bank of Ghana ought to be communicating with these people. So they would have advised them, look, don't bring these things, because already we have spent so much money.
What are you doing to help your importers and exporters?
That's why we are advocating. That's why we are discussing the issues for them, for the implementers, for the policy makers to know that what they are bringing is going to cause mayhem in the country.
Why are you not getting...
We want to go, they are making the need to go back to the 1980s when people keep their money in their various homes, in their various rooms, in their offices. That's what the Bank of Ghana is doing. I mean, the GRA is doing.
Why are you not getting the GRA to come and talk to your members to try and explain to them how this works?
Explain what? What we are saying is that you say, I'm looking for value. Am I going to get value if I pay that money?
I'm sure you'll get value, and that's why they want you to do that.
What value?
Maybe what you should be doing...
import duty. When they are paying so much import duty.
Maybe what you should be doing is also help your members understand this.
When you are going for release from shipping line, you have to pay VAT. When you are going for terminal, demurrage and rent, you have to pay VAT. When you are going to clear, you pay VAT. You come to the market, you pay VAT. Then you come to my bank, I pay VAT. VAT here, VAT there, VAT tomorrow. For what? Thank you for having me, my brother.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to be here. And anytime you call on us, we will be here to satisfy you.
I'm saying he's a very engaging guy.
Thank you very much.
So we'll be talking to Samson A. Asaki, the Executive Secretary of Importers and Exporters Association.
If you always add is Awin Gobi. Let my father also feel that the name he gives his son is
Asaki.
Samson Asaki Awin Gobi.
Samson Asaki Awengovi. That is his name.
Thank you very much.
He wants his father to remember. Yeah, so he's the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. We've been talking to him about their concerns and their issues regarding the forex measures that were reviewed recently, as well as the GRA's introduction of new taxes.
What I don't know if you can just chip in this. I want the viewers out there to only know that the Importers and Exporters Association, we have the website. You can always interact with us. Just go to the www.importersandexportersassociationofghana.com. You will get us. You have a place to be a member. You can register online to give us your complaints, whether at Temaport Airport, wherever you are. You don't need to walk to my office. Just go there. There's a complaint or suggestions. Just click there and type whatever you have. We'll pick it up and get it. So www.importersandexportersassociationofghana.com.
That's a very long website.
We don't want to be cheated. But thank you very much.
As he said, you can check there for if you have any comments to make, or if you have any concerns or complaints, you can raise with them and they will help resolve it for you. So we've been talking to him on some of these things. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll try and get the BOG and the VRA here again to bring some more clarity on some of the issues that he has raised to ensure that people can comply or easily comply with the new directives that have been brought. We're taking a short break again, and then when we come back, we'll talk about business and health. Stay tuned in. We'll be right back.
Africa is becoming more populous and richer, it has experienced unprecedented and uninterrupted economic growth for the past 3 decades. But if African countries are to become economically successful, their governments will have to implement adequate policies which contribute to the expansion of the private sector, job creation, and an increase in the productivity levels. Corruption must be dealt with in Africa. Unemployment, mainly among the youth, is another challenge facing African leaders. These and many more issues that hinders our growth will be discussed on the banner and provide the why, how, and what to accelerate the continent's dream of economic freedom. Watch on the banner every Saturday. It's going to be hot, heated, but focused. Africa's future success will depend on stability, sound policies, and solid institutions. Don't miss this.
If you want quality TV that will make your family always very happy, Fast Digital TV, Fast Digital TV for your family. We give you quality premium digital TV.
Fast Digital
TV you can afford. Always there is a channel for every member of the family. So everybody keep watching Fast Digital TV.
and always have some fun.
Digital TV.
We have local and international news, Parliament, Cinemax African movies, Sports 24, Emmanuel TV, GTV, CNN, Al Jazeera, Planet Kids for Kids, and many other channels.
Fast Digital, the Ghanaian in you.
The sun is up, spirits high, people everywhere. The food is good, the wine is fine, people getting high. Mama here, Papa there, the whole gang too. Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, come together, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together, all together, all together. Folks are jumping, screaming, and shouting, party everywhere. All our friends, let's join hands and make the sun shine bright. Why don't you come right in and have a good time too? Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together, all together.
Looking for a venue for your wedding reception, conferences and retreats, outside catering, recreation? Look no further than Coconut Grove Beach Resort Hotel, located in Elmina. Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth, and the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, your money never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the Gold Fund and Gold Money Market Fund, and be assured that when you are in need, you can turn to them to resolve your financial problems. Gold Coast Fund Management. Investment advice worth its weight in gold.
Using traditional cases might be pedagogically helpful, but they are often easily forgotten. Business class is to enrich case-based learning for business ethics instruction, discuss sample cases that feature popular work environment, and allow students to learn how to use sample case studies. The business class aim is to engage and motivate students in a classroom. The business class is a unique TV show that presents a more corporate experience within the show and illustrate the violations of norms commonly taken for granted in a work setting and taught in typical business classes. The business class serves as a valuable tool to teach management topics that are often difficult for grasp. Watch the business class live show with an audience to help create bond between student lecturers and corporate Ghana. The business class makes every situation real for students.
Looking for a venue for your wedding reception, conferences and retreats, outside catering, recreation? Look no further than Coconut Grove Beach Resort Hotel, located in Elmina. Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
The African Business Talk analyzes Africa's business development and how policies and initiatives affect the lives of the African. The talk aims at opening opportunities for industry as well as sound trade cultural practices between business owners and entrepreneurs in continental Africa and in the diaspora. Don't miss it as we engage think tanks, businessmen and women, entrepreneurs, chief executives, innovators and people who have worked to transform countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Benin, Togo, South Africa, Botswana, Egypt, and many other African economies. The African Business Talk, live on Business Television Africa. Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth. And the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, your money never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the Gold Fund and Gold Money Market Fund, and be assured that when you are in need, you can turn to them to resolve your financial problems. Gold Coast Fund Management. Investment advice worth its weight in gold.
So you're welcome back from the break. Fitness and health is very important for every business person. And I know most of us don't take it seriously as we should. Today we talk about fitness and health as a business person. And I'm happy to have you with me, Beatrice Asamoah, the MD for Paul's Fitness. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
It's good to have you
Good to
in the
be
studio.
here.
You look
Good to
as
be
fit as a fiddle, as they say.
Thank you.
So tell us about Paul's Fitness,
Okay,
how it started.
All right, Paul's, officially, we've been in Ghana for a year.
Okay.
No, actually, August is a year. Officially, we opened August, so we're just about getting to a year. But Paul's in the fitness industry has been in for over 20 years. We're a franchise from Paul's Fitness UK.
Okay.
We have other branches all over We've got in Europe, in UK, Germany, but in Africa, Ghana is the first maiden. But we're looking on establishing others in other African countries.
To expand.
Most definitely, most definitely. Yes, in Ghana currently we're located at the World Trade Center. Yes, I know when people say World Trade Center, go, oh, we didn't even know we had a World Trade Center in Ghana.
It's close to the
National City House, right? City House, sorry, on the ground floor.
Opposite the City House.
Lovely, yeah, that's it.
So, how challenging has it been as as MD for Pulse Fitness?
Okay, challenging. I like the word. Well, it's been challenging, but nothing that hasn't been achievable. Okay. Fitness in the Ghanaian concept, it's new. People attribute fitness to I have to lose weight or for medical reasons. That's the only reason people go into fitness. Program. But Paul, that's what Paul's in. We're here to change that whole perception. Fitness shouldn't be used as a prevention, but as a cure, as an everyday life. Like you get up in the morning, you know you need to stretch, you know you need to eat, you know you need to go to work. We're trying to adapt that concept that fitness should be in our everyday living, on our everyday.
It should be part of our life.
Yes, that's it. It should be part of us.
But as a business person, why the need for to keep fit?
Actually, it should be why not the need?
Why not the
need? Because the need, it's oh God, it will need a whole 1 hour segment for that. There's the advantages as a business person. It's our ways. First and foremost, as a human being, you need to keep fit.
It's true.
Exercises manages your stress, and then in the 21st world, we are encountered with a lot of stress, work stress, dealing with clients, dealing with marketing, dealing with sales, dealing business development, family, all these things, and then we are stuck in our offices longer.
That's true.
We're
stuck in
traffic longer. So all these things, at the end of the day, we are encountered with a lot of stress. It brings our energy down. So that's where the gym comes in. That's where exercise comes in. You exercise to boost your energy. You exercise to release your stress. When, yes, you apart from the health reasons, good exercise, good fitness, good for the heart. Yes, so
good for the heart.
It's good for the heart.
Look at the kind of clientele that you handle at Pulse Fitness. Have you identified some, similar strains of things that you've seen among those people that you handle? And then what specifically do you do to help them?
Sorry, if I understood your question.
You handle corporate clients?
Mostly, yes.
Are there any particular, deficiencies in codes that you identify in any of them?
Not having enough time. I don't have time, Beatrice. I don't have time. I'm stuck in the office making time to exercise. That's one of our main challenges. And when they come in, physically, every man wants to have
six-pack.
Six-pack. And then the muscles.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Right. So, but then that's why Paul's, we're located at the World Trade Center. Purposely because in the city of all these businesses, our working hours are flexible. It's from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So we're there to actually target the corporate Ghana, corporate business people, where not having time wouldn't be. If you're somebody that wants to work out early in the morning, 5 a.m., you can do your 45 minutes and then start the day energetic. If you're somebody that wants to do evening after work, after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you can come in and get your workout done.
So if I walk in today,
how
do you get me to start a particular exercise or the other?
Okay, when you walk in today, we've got a bunch of lovely instructors. They're going to ask you what your fitness goal is. What do you want to do? What you want to do and what another person want to do might be different. What's your fitness level? So we're going to have like a 5 minutes just to get to know you and what actually you want to do and what works for you before we just let you into the gym to try on the equipment.
I see.
Okay.
I see.
So, right.
Well, because of stress, because of all the various problems we go through.
Right.
I'm sure there are some particular exercises that you recommend for people in a corporate environment.
Cardio.
What, kind of exercises?
Cardio, all right, lovely, yes.
If you can demonstrate.
I've got Eben here. Eben is an instructor with us. He's going to take us through 30 minutes.
If Eben will join us and then just take us through what, some of the exercises are and how often we should have those types of exercises as well.
All right, then.
Yes. Eben, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
You can be in the middle as you take us through what we can do, some basic simple exercises that anybody can do, and whether we can do them in their homes, or
Right.
we have to be in the gym, we can do that. Okay.
Even on a 15-30 minutes break, lunch,
see.
you can. There's certain ones that you can do whilst you're still in the
So
office.
over to you. As he does it, then you can give us some explanation as well.
You go and do a full body workout. That's from the upper body, lower body, your core, and also I think that your stomach does it.
Okay.
So it's going to combine upper body, lower.
It's
So
up to you.
before you engage in any workout, you have to warm up to put the various muscles into action.
I see.
Okay, so you start with a normal jogging count. Okay. So for 30,
For how many
1,
minutes?
2. We're doing that for 10 minutes, but
10
because of
minutes.
time.
Yes, yes. So we do that for like 10
10
minutes.
right.
Okay. So 1,
He's gonna
2, 3, 4, go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's something I guess you can do even as you wake up.
3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. So we change, go to the high knee. 1 for 10 counts.
So these are high knee
1,
High knee.
2,
Yes.
3, 4, 5.
For how many minutes as well?
It's normally 3 reps, but because of time, he's going to just do it for 30 seconds.
1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay.
So this is just a warm up.
Yes.
Wow.
And after every work, this is just the beginning. You need to do a bit of stretches.
Make sure you don't fall when you're doing this.
Yeah, actually, so you can do that for 3 sets.
3 sets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you count for 30
means-
seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So the jumping, you jump on the spot for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay. And then you do the high knee raises for 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then you stretch. So then you can do 30 seconds, 30 seconds for 3 sets.
3 sets. Nice one.
Okay, so the stretching also go from the upper body to the lower.
Okay.
So you can just start by these are right, the left hand.
Okay.
Right just across.
Okay.
You are stretching the tricep. So you try to pull it up so that you feel the strength of the tricep. Okay, then you switch side.
Or just that. Just stretching.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you're working
And
on your
all the way back.
triceps.
Also stretching the triceps.
Okay.
You also switch the side. Okay, now this time around, 2 hands at the waist, the right hand up. You go bend all the way to the left.
Okay.
Then hold on for some time.
Okay.
Okay, for about 5 counts.
5
1,
counts.
5 counts,
2,
so 5 seconds.
3, 4, 5. Okay.
Your
Then
turn.
switch side.
Okay. For another 5 counts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay, now giving a little ironing. Okay. So when we are going to push, just let's assume you are pushing your car to the mechanics. So giving at the knee.
So you squat as
You
well.
push. 1, 2, 3.
You can do this for
4,
another
5.
6. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then you can switch side to this way.
So just 5 counts on all.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now back to the
Switch,
center.
okay.
They move back. 1,
I see.
2, 3, 4,
5.
Okay.
So that's the
Interesting.
stretch. So that's the warm up. So it's
Yeah.
3 sets of what 3 repetitions of what he just did.
I see.
Okay. And then
I
with
see.
let me just chip in this with the stretches, especially you can even do it during your after sitting 2-3 hours or 2
Okay.
hours non-stop. Most of us have a sitting job that when you get to the office, just sat 2-3 hours without even knowing it.
Getting up.
Yes. So you can do those stretching exercises. It helps. It's
I
good
see.
for the body. Yeah.
I see.
All right. So
Okay, so this is the
So this is the warm up.
Let's just warm up.
This is just
Warm up.
This is the warm up.
Those of you who are interested, this is warm up. Nothing has started yet. I see. I see. So after you've warmed up, then I think you need something.
Two.
Okay, so he's going to improvise. If normally at the gym,
something. Okay.
At the
Assuming you are not in the gym,
Yeah.
then this is something you can.
or
do.
if you're at home, this is something you can use. I'm sure we've all got just the five.
yeah.
So this can replace dumbbells.
Yeah.
Preferably dumbbells, but if you haven't got dumbbells, you can
Yeah,
use this.
2 bottles of
2
water.
bottles of water.
Water or sun
Not
or
empty,
gravels.
empty, please, full.
It's full. And it has to be the same weight.
Weight.
Yeah.
It can be of sun or gravel or water.
So if you can't buy water, you can get empty bottle.
Yeah.
Just fill it with just sand or gravel.
Of course.
That's all, but of the same weight. That is the important thing. Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do 3 activities non-stop.
Okay.
We do tricep dips. Then we do the squats with lateral raise.
Okay.
Then we do the jumping jacks. So the tricep dips, go down, open your legs a little bit.
Okay.
So work on your tricep. So for 10 count, you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. If you want to go more, you can go more. Okay. Now you go to the squat and the lateral raises. You're going to squat, you're working on our legs.
These are too small for you.
Actually, you're going to squat, working on the legs, and at the same time work on, let me say, the shoulders. So we squat, you come up, lateral raises, are working on the shoulders.
Okay.
So you go down.
That works on the legs, and then the raises on the shoulders.
I see.
Go down.
So do 2 things.
And one thing important, actually when you're squatting, that's your knee shouldn't go beyond your foot. People squat this way, which is wrong.
Which is wrong.
So actually you should go down, okay?
If anything at all, should be level, but shouldn't go beyond
that is it.
Your foot.
So you push your back a little back. Okay, so we do this one for 10. Go down. 1.
So look at his knee.
2.
Once he goes down.
3.
Okay.
4. 5. 6, and it should be shoulder level.
Shoulder level.
Yeah. 7. Go. 8.
Ben, can I ask you, when you say shoulder level, can you explain what shoulder level means? That means you mustn't rise.
It shouldn't go beyond.
Shouldn't go beyond your shoulder.
Shouldn't go beyond the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so one more to go. Down and up. Okay, then, as I said, 3 activities continue. We're going for the jumping jacks, but 30 counts.
Sure, jumping jacks. We all did it at school. Yeah.
3,
yes.
4,
yes, these are the jumping jacks. But it's very effective.
7,
so, yeah.
8,
good cardio workout.
10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Actually, we've done this just within like 5
minutes.
So you can't, your excuse that you don't have time doesn't count.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, actually,
it doesn't count.
It's also important when I'm working out to just carry some water.
Okay.
I need to drink. Actually, when I'm working out and you sweat, you lose a lot of nutrients for the body.
So it's good that you drink some water.
Okay, and then you just to replenish the system. So it's very, very important.
Okay.
But as to that, when he says drink water, we've also realized that you don't want to drink a whole lot at once. Yes, because it's just a sip, just to keep you hydrated.
Hydrated.
Yes.
Just
yes, because what happens is if you drink a lot, you're going to feel, when you start jumping, you're going to feel pain and discomforts right in the tummy area. So it's just to take it in sips, not a whole.
I see. So it's important that you keep some water by you as you do that.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've done 3 things just within a matter of 5-10 minutes. So you really don't have an excuse. You really don't have an excuse.
Yeah. So you repeat this activity for 3 sets.
3 sets.
Yeah. And you rest for 45 seconds between each of the exercises. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
I'm sure we'll be seeing some of us there very soon.
We look forward to that.
Work on our abs and our triceps and all that. Want to look like him, eh? Yeah. So, how often then do you do this type of exercises?
How often
should you do it? Daily,
yes.
Once in a week, a month?
I feel the minimum that you should at least exercise the body 4 times a week.
4 times at least.
At least,
4 times a week.
At least 4
If you're doing 10 minutes every morning,
you should.
With this kind of, jumping up and down and all that, I'm sure. At least 4 times a week should be good.
Yeah.
I see. So if anyone comes to Paul's Fitness, what are some of the exercises that the person does, apart from this one that we did?
Lovely. I wish we were at the gym, then I could actually show you.
One of these days we'll come there.
Please do. That would be lovely. That would be lovely.
Well.
What normally we all start with a cardio workout using the cardio equipment. So you've got the obviously the treadmill. Everyone loves the treadmill. may do the treadmill or the bicycle or the eye trainer. The eye trainer is a new innovation that I can proudly boast that Pulse Fitness is the only one that's got it in the country. It's joining aerobics and cardio in at the same time.
I see.
Yeah. So you can use that for 30 minutes. So it's normally every exercise you normally need to do a bit of cardio. I know when the men come in, they go like, "Oh, I just want to do muscles. I don't want to do cardio." But cardio is very important. You know, it's good for the heart. Okay, so you can just 10-15 minutes cardio, then you can go to work on the other total body workouts.
So it's not for only men?
No, for everybody, for women. Weight loss, if you want to lose weight, you know. If you want to, the funny thing is women come in and they're like, "Oh, Beatrice, I want to keep my hips, I want to keep my behind, but I just want to work on my tummy. I just want to lose the tummy weight." Yes, the body loses weight proportionally. So even if you want to lose, even if you want to work on your tummy, you need to do cardio. You need to burn fat from the whole body.
You don't want to look, you know, disorganized in your body structure.
Yes, exactly. So you have to work the whole body out, and after that, then you work on your tummy muscles. Because if there's fat there, the only way you can burn fat is to do cardio.
To do cardio.
Yes, cardio. Yeah.
I see.
So you have to burn the fat there. When the fat is being burned, then you can also firm and tighten your tummy muscles as well.
I see. Okay. That's good, and I'm hoping that, you know, we can bring you this every morning.
I'd love
so
to
that
be here.
At least you know what you can do, and something that is sustainable. As Eben did, this is a very simple exercise that
No reason
everyone
not to.
Can do.
Age-wise,
anybody?
So far as you haven't got a special medical condition, I have clients that are old as 70, 65 still using the gym.
That's
and
nice.
at Paul's, we have a special package for 60 and above and students. Lovely discounts.
I see.
Yeah, so
it puts people like us to shame. Maybe the 70-year-olds are doing exercises.
Yeah.
Then I guess we don't have an excuse not to as well.
But it's just all about having a proper instructor take you through exercising properly. So, because if you don't want to get to the gym, as much as exercises is healthy, is good, we need it. If you don't do it right too, it can be dangerous. So you need a person that knows how to instruct you to take you through.
Is it expensive to register with Pulse?
Not at all, considering the benefits you get. Not at all.
Okay. Any last words to viewers out there?
I also want to chip in this, that we at Pulse, we know that corporate people, they have a very stressful, you can go through the whole month without getting nothing to distress yourself. So we've created this thing that we call Gym and a Disco.
Gym in a disco?
No, gym. It's a gym and a disco. It's called Gymsco. So at the end of every month, the last Friday of every month, we have what we call Gymsco. It's just coming in your workout clothes, but dancing to various disco musics from the 90s, Zumba, African dance, as on to all these fun, just something to tell you that yes, the month is over. I'm going to distress at the gym and face the coming month feeling energetic. So we have it every last Friday of the month.
So next week, Friday.
Definitely. I hope you're going to be there. You must be there.
Well, if I'm around, we'll see.
All right, then, most definitely.
We'll see.
All right. So,
okay, I see. Thank you, Beatrice.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
You look good, so
thank you.
I hope
thank you.
Others will look at what you've done with yourself, and then that should inspire them to do that as well. So that has been talking to Beatrice Asamoah of Pulse Fitness on the need for us to stay fit as business people. That's been our program for today, a special Friday edition. As I said in the beginning, tomorrow the Black Stars are playing. Please, make sure you support them. Give them all the necessary support. You know, I'm sure they will come through for us. I am very sure they will come through for us. Germany or no Germany, Ghana will come through for us. So stay good, have a blessed day, and enjoy the weekend. We'll see you same time Monday morning. I am Benjamin Afre, your host.
Africa is becoming more populous and richer, it has experienced unprecedented and uninterrupted economic growth for the past 3 decades. But if African countries are to become economically successful, their governments will have to implement adequate policies which contribute to the expansion of the private sector, job creation, and an increase in the productivity levels. Corruption must be dealt with in Africa. Unemployment, mainly among the youth, is another challenge facing African leaders. These and many more issues that hinders our growth will be discussed on the banner and provide the why, how, and what to accelerate the continent's dream of economic freedom. Watch on the banner every Saturday. It's going to be hot, heated, but focused. Africa's future success will depend on stability, sound policies, and solid institutions. Don't miss this.
If you want quality TV that will make your family always very happy, First Digital TV, First Digital TV for your family. We give you quality premium digital TV.
First Digital
TV you can afford. Always there is a channel for every member of the family. So everybody keep watching First Digital TV.
and always have some fun.
Digital TV.
We have local and international news, Parliament, Cinemax African movies, Sports 24, Emmanuel TV, GTV, CNN, Al Jazeera, Planet Kids for Kids, and many other channels.
First Digital, the Ghanaian in you.
The sun is up, spirits high, people everywhere. Yeah. The food is good, the wine is fine, people getting high. Yeah. Mama here, Papa there, the whole gang too. Yeah. Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, come together, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together, all together, all together. Folks are jumping, screaming, and shouting, party everywhere. Yeah. All our friends, let's join hands and make the sunshine bright. Yeah. Why don't you come right in and have a good time too? Yeah. Everybody's dancing, celebrating all night long. Celebration, jubilation, come together, all together. Celebration, jubilation, all together, all together, all together.
Looking for a venue for your wedding reception, conferences and retreats, outside catering, recreation? Look no further than Coconut Grove Beach Resort Hotel, located in Elmina. Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
The African Business Talk analyzes Africa's business development and how policies and initiatives affect the lives of the African. The talk aims at opening opportunities for industry as well as sound trade culture practices between business owners and entrepreneurs in continental Africa and in the diaspora. Don't miss it as we engage think tanks, businessmen and women, entrepreneurs, chief executives, innovators, and people who have worked to transform countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Benin, Togo, South Africa, Botswana, Egypt, and many other African economies. The African Business Talk, live on Business Television Africa. Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth. And the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, your money never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the Gold Fund and Gold Money Market Fund, and be assured that when you are in need, you can turn to them to resolve your financial problems. Gold Coast Fund Management. Investment advice worth its weight in gold.
Our turnout was a bit higher than expected, so our apologies to the folks in the way back who may not have a seat, but we hope you'll hang with us. My name is Jennifer Cook, and I direct the Africa program here at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. I want to welcome you all to CSIS, and it's really wonderful to see the level of interest in today's event, which is on the big outcomes of President Obama's recent trip to Africa, and in particular on the Power Africa initiative that he announced. Today's event is part of the Chevron Forum on Development. This is a series of speaker events and part of a larger initiative here at CSIS under the leadership of our U.S. Leadership and Development Program, which is co-directed by Johanna Nesseth, who is probably here, and Dan Rundy, that looks at the role of the private sector in development, how U.S. development assistance can harness the energy of the private sector and maximize development impacts. So we're very grateful to the Chevron Corporation for their important support. I'd also really like to thank Christina Perkins of CSIS, who's done a great job and worked very hard to bring this big event together today. As most of you know, President Obama traveled to Africa from June 25th to June 3rd, visiting Senegal, Tanzania, and South Africa. This was his first trip to the region since a brief visit to Ghana in 2009. And the trip, the initiatives that he announced, and I think the very warm reception that he received in Africa, presents a real opportunity to re-energize U.S. partnerships on the continent and to engage African governments, entrepreneurs, and citizens, I think, in a new and different way. The President spoke of this paradigm shift in U.S. relations with Africa that moves the U.S. away from thinking of the continent as a place of disease and conflict and need to one with much greater emphasis on economic growth, investment in trade, and sustained development. I think this entails a major shift that is beginning not entirely there in a mindset, I think, both in the U.S. and in Africa, where perceptions of pursuit of commercial interests and profit, there's always been something seen as slightly unseemly about that when you talk about Africa. But I think now we're moving to the idea that, in fact, these commercial ties, if managed well,